go, Fritz.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
The Bears. The Bears.
I am the great Cornholio.
We'll see what happens.
The playoffs?
See, Sean McDonough, Jay Billis. Goats!
Can you play a song? Something cool. Put my mic on!
I'm calling both games.
Oh, baby!
Are you serious?
Goes down the field for Smith.
Oh, he got it!
Seattle. We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
Western Conference in NHL, the race for the playoffs is heating up for sure, and the Central Division has got Colorado dominating once again. The Avalanche are just doing their thing, as they seem to always do the past few years. The Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators are still in the race for sure. They're second and third, but it doesn't seem like they'll catch the Colorado Avalanche. It seems like the Avs have that one pretty much in hand at this point. However, the Pacific Division is really close, and so the top three teams going into yesterday were Vegas, Calgary, and the LA Kings, with the Anaheim Ducks not too far behind, as well as the Edmonton Oilers. And the Vegas Golden Knights were 1 point ahead of Calgary entering yesterday, and both teams got some pretty big contributions. They're going to get some big additions to their team, right? The Golden Knights acquired Jack Eichel from the Buffalo Sabres earlier on the season. He was hurt, so he hadn't really played too much. And then news came out just the other day that he'll be playing sometime soon, I should say. So if they can get him on a team that's already winning the division right now, Vegas could all of a sudden become a pretty serious threat in the Western Conference. However, Calgary, another team that's been playing really well, they're only 1 point behind Vegas entering yesterday. They just acquired Tyler Toffoli, who is maybe not going to be a starter, but he's a pretty solid guy that you can plop on the second or third line. And, he played some time with LA. He did okay. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. I know I didn't really care for him too much when he played on LA, but he had his moments. He goes to Montreal, and I think he really started to find himself a little bit with the Canadiens. Now he comes to Calgary, where they've got a really good team there in Calgary, and I think with that additional piece in Tyler Toffoli, they could give Vegas a good run for their money, and I think that's going to be one of the more intriguing races this as we close the NHL season and get ready for the playoffs. The race for the Pacific is going to be intriguing. Is it going to be Vegas? Is it going to be Calgary? Or are some of the other teams going to pop in there, right? As I mentioned, the LA Kings are in third. The Ducks are in fourth. They are one of the wildcard teams as of right now. And then the Edmonton Oilers are also kind of lurking in the background. But getting to the LA Kings, they are a team going into the season that not many people really paid too much mind to. They thought, LA Kings are a young team. They're rebuilding. They've got some veterans. They've got some talent, but they're looking ahead. They're looking for the future. They're not really going to do anything this year. Well, the LA Kings got things rolling out of nowhere, right? Right. As I mentioned, they're third in the Pacific. And the Pacific's got some pretty good teams, right? As I mentioned, Vegas, Calgary, Anaheim, Edmonton's pretty good. And even San Jose was a team that people thought was, the Sharks, everybody thought they were supposed to be good, and they haven't really lived up to the hype too much. And sure, a younger Los Angeles team could be considered the surprise team of the year. And sure, they're off to a hot start. But the thing is, can they keep it going? Because now a lot of people are going to turn to them and say, hey, start looking at the LA Kings. They got something going. And, I think they might start to feel the pressure a little bit as a lot of eyes turn to them as a team that, hey, maybe this team's going to make the playoffs. Can they make any kind of run? How far can they go? Can this younger Kings team, keep the ball rolling here? Can they keep things going? I'm not so sure. It's a tough division with Vegas and Calgary and even Anaheim, right? The rival Ducks are not too far behind. They're looking to catch up, and they certainly have the talent to do so. And as I mentioned, the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid very much still in it. So I think if the LA Kings can beat Anaheim and Edmonton and they can kind of keep pace with those teams, they'll be okay. But a younger team might start to feel the pressure a little bit in LA. Over in the East, the Eastern Conference, Sidney Crosby last night just eclipsed 500 career goals, joining an elite club of 45 other players. The Penguins are leading the Metropolitan Division, but the Hurricanes and Rangers are not too far behind in second and third. And sure, those are the top three, but don't look now. But the Washington Capitals are not too far behind either in fourth. And to be quite honest with you, it seems like not just the Metropolitan, but the whole Eastern Conference is kind of wide open. And, in the Atlantic, you have the Panthers. Right now, they're on top in the Atlantic, but Tampa Bay and Toronto are right there as well. And you could make a case for any of those teams, right? Boston being the other wildcard team as well. Those are all really good hockey clubs right now. And, I think, as I mentioned, it's wide open. You can make a case for any of those teams, and it's just going to be a matter of which team is going to execute and which team's going to be able to, beating good teams is a theme that you hear in all sports, NFL, NBA, so on and so forth, where you'll have a team that's really good, and you say, hey, they're good, but can they beat the other teams at the top? That's a problem that the Lakers have had this season in the NBA. Sure, they can beat up on the cupcakes. They can beat up on the Rockets and the Pistons all day long. But as soon as Phoenix comes to town, or as soon as any good team comes to town, they fall apart and they can't do it. And I think that is what you look at in these teams where, especially in a wide open race, such as the Eastern Conference in the NHL, sure, you have a lot of good teams, but can they beat the top dogs? Can they beat the other teams at the top? There's a lot of questions surrounding those teams, and to be honest with you, it's anybody's race at this point.